Do you ever wonder if God actually appoints the leaders of the world, or is that something else? So let's talk about that. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Reverend Sharon Renae, and welcome to this week's Sunday Inspiration presented by Spiritually Centered. And today I want to talk about a topic that has been going on for quite a while. And, I see comments on Facebook. I get a lot of questions about why would God pick leaders such as Hitler? Why would God approve of them to create the chaos and stuff that they do? And why do people believe that that's true and in the Bible? So I want to talk about that. And this comes out of First Samuel. And what happened was that and I'm giving you a synopsis, but the Israelis, the Jews, the Hebrews wanted to have a king like all of the other nations. They wanted to have a king like the other nations so that they could have that same kind of power and somebody to lead them and to protect them. And Samuel took that into prayer, talked to God, all right? And God said, they are not denying you, they're denying me, but tell them if they choose to have a king, that king will take their sons, they will take their daughters, they will have their friends take part of their crops and it will tax them and take their vineyards and take their tithes. And he goes on to explain that to have an authority over them will also impact them in ways that they will no longer have control. And where God says they're not denying you, they're not denying Samuel, who was at that point in charge. They were denying trusting that God is their source and providing. So nowhere does it say that God approved and told them to go get a king. God said, let them choose a king and let them live with the consequences of that. So here's the thing is that we have free will. We have the right to choose. So when we choose to have certain leaders or when we choose. And when we also feel like we are victims to situations, we are allowing the outside influences to be the authority over us, the outer authority, instead of trusting our own spiritual inner authority. And who do we want to give our authority to? Do we want to give it over to others? Do we want to claim it for ourselves? And this is part of, in the New Testament, the Pharisees not being happy with Jesus and wanting to crucify him and to put him to death because he was empowering people to think for themselves and to know that they were capable of healing their lives, of improving the status of their lives, and that they didn't have to depend on someone else to tell them if they were right with God or not, that they had that opportunity to trust that. So this is about trusting your own inner authority as well as not being a victim of it and blaming other people for your circumstances. Because too, we always have choice. We have free will and we can move ourselves through things. But God loves all of us, regardless of if you consider the person evil, if you consider them crooked, if you consider them a bully, if you consider them wonderful and spiritual and whatever. God loves us all equally, and God loved us so much that God gave us free will to choose so that we can spiritually grow. And we just need to learn how to put faith before fear. And as we implement faith in our life and we trust and we step up to do what is ours to do in a loving, peaceful way, our world will shift. But just know that this is not a God chosen situation. This is chosen by the people, just like when Israel got their first king, it was chosen by the people, not deemed by God. And until next time, namaste.